If you're familiar with my layout videos, you know that I recently expanded the size of the yard at Westmill. This has been great for me. I finally have a place where I can actually assemble and break down trains for operations. It's working well. The expansion was the inclusion of 3 new long yard tracks that are stub-ended, shown here. You'll notice there's no provision for an engine escape at this end of the yard. I thought cutting in a crossover switch would take too much yard trackage. Not a problem for trains coming from the south from this tunnel. They'll simply drop off their caboose, roll past the yard entrance, and then back the cars into the stub-ended tracks. Trains coming from the north, on the other hand, would have the locomotives actually rolling into the stub-ended tracks, and they'll be caught there. So I've been trying to come up with a solution for dealing with that, and I've come up with something that I'll show you. I'll illustrate it by running a train powered by these 2 RSD-12s coming into Westmill Yard from the north. Okay, so now the locomotives are trapped behind the freight cars there. Keep in mind that I run traditional DC, so to resolve this problem I have to find a way of electrically isolating the locomotives. I did this by cutting into the track where the little walkway is in front of that building where you can see the figures standing on the dock. This is now a new crew office and lounge. Wiring to the track is covered by the little walkway under the dock. I was going to lead the wires to a switch on my fascia, but when I was drilling holes I realized I was drilling right into a lot of benchwork support, so I had to get creative. So I simply led the wires to an electrical switch inside the little building, so I can turn power on and off to where the locomotives are from there manually. Okay, so in order to get those locomotives out of there, I'm going to have this New York Central switcher pull the caboose and then shift the cars from that yard track to other tracks, so it'll clear the way for the RSD-12s to get to the engine facilities. The caboose track is a new operational feature I haven't had before, so now I can pull cabooses from arriving trains or add them to departing trains. Well, the next part of the action has been filmed by a local rail fan using his 8mm camera. Well, okay. Actually, what happened was that when I looked at this film footage in color, the lighting made it look too orangey for my taste, so I switched it over to black and white. But hey, it gives me a chance to use this vintage movie projector sound effect one more time. So what you're seeing is the switcher is pulling the cars that were behind the RSD-12s, so it'll clear the track so that they'll be able to escape to the engine track. So you see the cars now being pushed onto another track. And there are the locomotives, the RSD-12s, with a clear track in front of them now. As soon as the switcher's work is done and it relocates itself to its own isolated track, the RSD-12s will be able to get underway. Well, now that the track is clear, the great hand from the sky comes down and flips the switch, supplying power to the RSD-12 block so they can be on their way. And pulling into the new locomotive track. The locomotive track is another new operational feature that I've been able to add after expanding the yard at Westmill. Well, thank you very much. That's how I'm managing to get locomotives out of Westmill Yard that come from the north. Thank you for watching as always.